all of your energy just gets to focus on the thing right in front of you. Yeah.
If you have an idea, pursue it. Yeah.
Yeah. While someone's making your meals for you.
Welcome to the Startup Storybook, guys. This episode is a very special episode. Returner. We have John and Chelsea Giles on the podcast today, founders of DomeDock, America's #1 hat rack, featured on Shark Tank and ACU alums. Thanks for going in, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Happy to be.
Let's just dive straight in. How about that?
Yeah.
If you guys just could share how you guys met, any entrepreneurial background you have, and then maybe eventually how you would got to this product, maybe where you are now, kind of the origin story behind you guys.
We'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we did go to Abilene Christian University, ACU right here, and that's where we met each other. So we were actually banders together.
Yeah.
So I was on drum line. She played flute. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Big purple.
she was dating one of my best friends, and whenever they broke up, I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" So, yeah, we got married right before our senior year here at SU.
So that's how we met. And then fast forward, I'm an education major. John was a youth ministry major. So when we were here at ACU and meeting and getting married and all that, entrepreneurship was not really something that we had considered even a little bit. So the entrepreneurial journey really only started 7 years ago, in 2018. And you can talk about your concept and how you came up with it.
Yeah. So my professional work journey was I did youth ministry for 7 years, and then I started working for a home builder. Did that for 7 years, and somewhere along that time, I guess it was 2018. I just needed to solve my own problem. I needed to find a better way to store all my pockets. So I had like 50 hats in a row stuck up in a shelf somewhere, falling in and stuff. So I ended up just I looked online first, and there was nothing out there that was really what I was looking for. Nothing compact enough. And so I grabbed a stack of my hats and stuck them on the wall and said, I wish I could just store them just like this, and then stared at it for a few seconds, thought, I can make that, So went out to the back porch, made the first one out of a few pieces of wood that I tacked together. And then after we kind of refined it a little bit, started selling a few at local markets. And that worked so well, we decided, man, what if we took this online? So that turned into an Etsy shop where we started selling them online. All this time, I'm still at my full-time job. And we ended up starting to sell so many of them that we couldn't keep up with sales. It was like I was going to work all day and then coming home and just making more at night and on weekends, just trying to keep up with demand. And man, after about a year of that, we said, something's got to give. We need to figure out a way to make these more efficiently. And that's when we learned about manufacturing and ran a Kickstarter campaign because we didn't even have the money to fund the manufacturing process at first. An injection mold cost us like $40,000. So that was like, man, we can't afford that right off the bat. So we kind of did a crowdfunding project, and that's how we made the first injection mold. And then after that, we could make as many as we wanted. So
yeah, opened a Shopify store, did all the fulfillment, the orders that were coming in the front bedroom of our, 3-bedroom house, put the kids in the room and did all the orders ourselves for several years.
2 months. Yeah.
Two or three. And then eventually got on the Amazon as well. So now we're selling on our own website, fulfilling orders, Amazon fulfilling orders.
Yeah, we didn't go on Amazon though until we had a patent in the end, because we knew that as soon as we go on Amazon, we're gonna have all sorts of knockoffs, all sorts of people copying us from China, and so we just thought, let's wait until we have a little bit of protection. And we're really glad to begin because within a few weeks of going on Amazon, we already had people knocking up a product from China and copycats, people undercutting our price, and so. Then we had to go about learning how to force our patent on Amazon, and that was a whole process.
And this is something I want to kind of ask about because I've a couple different thoughts on that. For my business virtually, working on getting, I have the provisional out there. So kind of work towards an provisional, but it's expensive.
It is.
Couple grand,
Yeah.
$1,000 just to get patent out there, and then enforcing it, you have to accept a higher return.
You do it like so. You got it.
So and that's part of, like, I've heard the side that is, oh, well, if you get a patent, it's all about your ability to enforce it. And so if you don't have the capability to enforce it, in some people's minds, it's not worth it. And then there's a side that, oh, you have to patent every single thing because something's supposed to be right.
Yeah.
So honestly, you don't have a patent. So then patent enforcement. So is that, you said you don't have to hire an attorney.
Yeah.
How do you do?
Well, I got a couple of things to say to that. One, I think there is value in having a patent because the law in the U.S. right now, it wasn't always this way, but as it is right now, says the person who owns an idea is not the person who first has the idea, nor is it the person who first starts making money on the idea. It's whoever files the patent on the idea first has the rights to that idea. So technically, imagine this scenario. You create a product, start selling it, decide not to get a patent, and then somebody else says, I'm going to patent that. And now they have a patent for your product, and you're no longer allowed to make product that you created and started out.
Because they did
So
the patent.
that is the value of a patent, in my opinion, is that it protects my own right to create my products for the future, if that makes sense. So that's one value.
Yeah, that feels like worth the couple grades.
Yeah. Depending on how much you're selling. And if it's not worth that, I mean, you're probably not going to get knocked off. So, maybe you will, maybe you won't. But usually the people, like, I keep mentioning China because 100% of all of our knockoffs that have happened on Amazon, 100% of them are all from China. Like, so like that's just not an American thing apparently right now. But talking about, yes, you don't need a lawyer in order to enforce your patent. It depends on what you mean by that. So a lot of the platforms, the selling platforms like Amazon or even Walmart.com, things like this, they have internal processes where they want sellers to feel safe coming in with a protected product. And so like Amazon has this Amazon Patent Express program where basically if you report another listing to Amazon and say, hey, here's my patent, and these people are infringing on the patent, they will do an internal investigation to see if that's true. And if it is true, Amazon doesn't enforce it personally. What they do is they outsource to a third-party arbitration where both parties who have the listings have to put up some money and say, like, I think it's $4,000 or $5,000 right now, and say, hey, we're going to go through this arbitration and basically pay this third-party lawyer to see who's infringing or not. And whoever wins that case basically gets that money back. And the other person has to take the other person pays the lawyer and has to take care of it. Yeah.
Because I was about to ask you, you get to pay $5,000 for every single question that you take it off. That's expensive, but the fact that you get back, that's
Yeah.
Well,
You don't pay, you risk.
Right.
and it was also the ones that choose to go to arbitration because most of them, when they're told to get off of, take down their listing, they do. And
Well, this doesn't don't. And then we say, great, well, let's use the arbitration. And then I say, no.
when arbitration comes up, they take their listing down. So we've only gone to arbitration a couple times.
Yeah. And one intercom.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, went to ACU, had some career experience, started DomeDock. Now, I want to talk about Shark Tank full of ways. So, not every day, you get there through that. So, watch Bill's episode. You're on, and I love the intro to TL's pitch. It's hilarious of the tax line of and you want to getting a deal with Kevin, at least on the show.
That's right.
And so, can you walk me through kind of the negotiation tactics? And I think y'all first asked for $100,000 for 5%. It went all the way up to 25% at some point, and then y'all met the dog.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what are the tactics?
I was really lucky / blessed to have taken some negotiation courses whenever I was a home seller for the home builder that I work for. And so some of the tactics that were used are just understanding that at the end of the day, usually in a negotiation, both sides give up something in order to come to an agreement. If you're both not willing to give, then you end up not feeling really satisfied. Like they kind of took me, and I gave up everything and they gave up nothing, that kind of feeling, and it just doesn't feel good for a partnership. So we went into it kind of assuming that we're going to meet in the middle somewhere. So when we first made our ask, we did that knowing that we're going to root from it. So the 5% for $100,000 was 100 or 150. It was 100. Yeah. we knew that we were going to come off of that. Now, to be honest, we were hoping we would land more like at 10%.
Sure.
And 15% was our cap. We were like, if it goes above 15 and we can't get them down to 15, we're just going to have to say thank you for the experience and things.
Yeah. So when they came in, I don't remember who the first offer was. Was it Damon? At 25%, it was like, oh yeah, there's no way. I think that's when you made the because that we knew they were going to cut on high, but that was even higher than we thought.
Yeah.
So then it was just kind of like, then it's just a game, really. Would you take 10? No, we're not going to take 10, and there's the back and forth, and
well, and there's kind of different tactics that you can use in it. And so, like, for instance, part of that negotiation, you could just ask. They say 25 and we say 10, and well, what if they just say 25? Well, you have to give them a reason to come down off of 25.
Yeah.
So that's whenever with Dan and I started telling him, well, the valuation that you're giving us on our business is actually like you're valuing our whole business for less than the sales that we've made this year and the profit that we're going to make this year. So, like, actually, you're way undervaluing our business. And his response was, well, I'm sure, so if you want to do business with me, that's what you're going to have to do. And so I think it was then whenever I kind of laid out like, hey, look, I know how much our business is worth and it's far above what you're saying. So, like, that's your reasoning that actually you really should come down because you're like way devaluing on our business, And then that was the moment where Kevin O'Leary said, you know what, I'll take that deal. Because we said back to Damon, like, hey, if you can meet us at 15%, well, we'll do the deal right now. And then that was right off the heels of me kind of showing how I got to the valuation in our business. And so that's whenever Kevin, to our surprise, who had already gone out, he came back in and said, you know what, I'll do that. So it was kind of a cool moment for us because it was like we had to fight for it a little bit. And then the fight worked out.
We had decided in advance also the 15%, like we weren't going to go any higher than 15%. So even in that moment with Damon where it looked like he just was not going to budge off of that 20%. And I just had a moment of like, oh, that's it. Like, we didn't get a deal. And then Kevin comes in at that 15%, which was the number we had said. So it was just that split second, like, then we took the deal.
Yeah.
So,
and how did we get to the 15% as first lights? We had to really make some predictions on like how much this Shark Tank Daring was going to increase our sales. And so we had to make some predictions. Well, if we sold X amount of product and we know that we make X amount or percentage of profit from that much sales, then will that overcome how much we're getting off of business? And we determined that at 15%, that would be where we're kind of breaking even, where now we have this great partner that has all these connections and we're covered, like we're going to make that in profit.
It was a loss. Yeah. What we were practicing. Yeah. So I know if it was going to air, right?
That's correct.
That's the whole
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We didn't. We can't share too much, but basically they told us after we filmed in September of 2024, we might reach out to let you know
when you're aired in it.
You're aired if you're so it's going to air.
Yeah.
And they filmed way more people than they actually needed. And so it really was kind of like they didn't need us, but they were filtering through all of the different pitches to see which ones were TV worthy.
So how selective was it? Because I remember during Shuffle, you guys mentioned it go from 40,000 videos, right? And then it took 1,000.
Well, yeah, it's hard to even say. What did she say because we went to an open casting call in New York, and ABC puts on several open casting calls like around the country. And then they get online submissions also. So the number of applications that come in is.
Yeah, we weren't even privy to it. So that,
I mean,
we've heard just through searches on the internet that and I don't know how accurate this is, but that there was about 40,000 different applicants a year. And then that gets narrowed down to a much smaller number. And then it gets narrowed down to an even smaller number that actually gets to go and pitch to the Sharks. And then from those that pitch, only a certain amount of those actually get chosen to go on.
Yeah. And that really just felt like we were praying the whole time. Like, Lord, just open these doors or close these doors. If we have no business being on TV, just like shut it down,
Yeah.
And so it was really amazing. Like as those months went on another door would open and another door would open. And then there we are on, at our watch party with all of our friends watching ourselves on TV. And it just felt like the Lord had just like paved the way, which really like an amazing faith journey to walk,
I have one more question about the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a specific shark you guys were trying to like go for? Or was it like, we'll take, cause I know lots of people, they're like, they're like, I was like any deal, but I was something before, right?
Yeah. We had our I hope sharks, and kind of in list of who we thought would be the most, have the most impact with our business. And yeah, at the top of that was Mark Cuban, because he's a fellow Texan. He has at ends with a lot of the athletic teams, we assumed. Yeah, obviously Matt's. Yeah,
He
but
was like the first one to go out. So we were
we were
super
really surprised when I hung out almost immediately.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, we would have been happy to have a relationship with any of them, a partnership with any of them, because all of them have so many connections. And we were really going for, like, we needed someone to help us get into some retail outlets. And we've tried to make those connections ourselves, and it's kind of difficult. Yeah, same as I learned. So anyway, that's what we were hoping for. So at the end of the day, there's kind of, I think, second in our list was probably Damon John. And then after that, it's kind of like whoever. Yeah. So yeah.
So did the deal go through afterward?
It didn't actually. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that, but only about half of the deals that are done on the show actually slows later on. So there's a lot of due diligence, a lot of rethinking, and you can even maybe still do a little bit of negotiating on the back end. And at the end of the day, a handshake on a TV show is not like legally binding, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, you got to sign a lot of papers and whatnot, and that's all done after the due diligence process. So we're actually not at liberty to say all of the reasons why, but I will say that Kevin O'Leary's team was very gracious in how they told us personally that actually we're not going to go through with the deal with us. But for us, that was perfectly fine. We've been asking for open doors or closed doors, and we just have to trust that if the Lord closes the door, it's because He knows.
Yeah. It was open, and shut. Like, great. That's all we needed.
We had a great publicity spike, a great sales spike that came with that publicity spike, and we still retained 100% of our business. So we got all of the profit from that. So we were happy all the way around.
It's almost a way better than having to give up a portion of your profit.
Yeah, except for we're still fighting for retail connections.
Yes.
So
you guys are still fully on, right?
Not fully online. Yes, we do have some retail.
We're in several Shield stores. So it'd be great if we'd be getting more.
Yeah. But now we've got some infrastructure in place to where it's going to be a lot more easy to connect with retail partners and say, like, hey, here's what we're offering. So we're kind of on the road to having more retail partners.
Yeah. So I want to kind of pivot now to student entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Y'all been on campus all day, Abilene Christian, talking to all of us. They're amazing. So our audience is, like Dan was saying, we're mainly students just like us who maybe might have an idea, might know what entrepreneurship is, might have a business, or might have like, but they like the process, like hearing full stories like y'all's.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all had to give 3 tips to yourselves as fresh game, what can be that?
Man, just pray.
Or more. There's a lot. We've learned so many things along the way. I mean, coming in as a youth ministry guy and as a children's education major, like with those backgrounds, we came in very humbly. Like we were just knowing that we've got a lot to learn, and so we're figuring it out as we go. One thing I will say though is that we realized as we started connecting with more and more entrepreneurs along the way who were doing well, we got into a business mastermind group, and we're connecting with these people weekly, and we realized actually even the people with business backgrounds are still having to figure out everything as they go. I mean, the market is different daily. Businesses are different daily. Products demand is different daily. And so every business everywhere is just figuring it out as they go and just taking their best guess and just trying to move forward. And so once I realized, oh, everybody else doesn't have some magic formula that I didn't receive. Instead, everybody is just trying things and pivoting and trying some more and not giving up. So that was really revelatory for me to know that nobody's got a crystal ball. We're all just figuring it out. And so just to try,
Yeah, and I would say there were opportunities that were available when we were in CU that didn't occur to me to go, like the leadership summit. That was a thing when we were here. And I never even considered going because I'm not, that kind of person that would go to that. I'm not, I'm just going to be a teacher or whatever. And I think there was something inside me. There's always been just kind of like I don't know, independent, like entrepreneurial. I started a photography business after I graduated instead of teaching. So that's always kind of been in there. And I would notice things and just think, oh, that's really not for me. And I wish that I had paid more attention to that,
What do you think at that time you said that's not for me? Was it like the anxiety about what are people going to think, or I just don't think I can do this?
Yeah, I just didn't think, I'm just not that kind of person. I was like, I was kind of shy, kind of quiet, like kind of playing the flute in the marching band. You can't even hear the flute in the marching band. I was like kind of just more comfortable, like being quiet, kind of in the background.
Well,
I didn't
you
really
thought you didn't have what it took to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like that's just not me. That's like other people do that kind of thing, but I'm not one of those people. I'm too uh, uh shy or timid, or I'm just not like that. Um, but all the while kind of having like my curiosity was piqued and I just ignored it. And it's been so much fun getting to run this business and getting to be an entrepreneur, and it's like scratching this like lifelong itch that I've had. And I feel like in the last 5 years, I've just like come alive. Like I love this.
Yeah.
And
She thought she was an introvert who was like terrified of speaking in front of groups. And now, ever since Shark Tank, she's spoken in front of several large groups. And now these are energy. Like there's something that just shifted inside of her
Yeah.
to where she's like, you know what? I thought I was that person and I'm wrong.
And I think like talking to a student that's on campus now that has all of these opportunities available, it's like, oh, I'm just an education major, or I'm just gonna whatever. If there is like a curiosity or a spark or something that like is calling out to you, like just lean into that, just go get curious, go learn more about it, go sign up for summit, or do one of these pitch competitions or whatever. Like you don't know what the Lord is gonna do, and that it's like it feels like there was something that he designed me with, he put it in me, and I was just really trying to ignore it. And as I've paid attention and woken up to it, he's just like blown it up for me. And so um I think just being like as a student now, just paying attention to the curiosity, and leaning in, even if you think maybe you're not that person. If you think you can just a little tiny bit becomes that person, just go for it. Go figure it out.
It seems like what we're saying now is like it comes down to an identity thing. Yeah, but
That's absolutely.
it's definitely an identity thing. But like, I think, yeah, like the message we're trying to give to students, that was like, there's not just one specific type of person who goes to leadership summit or
Yeah.
scratches that entrepreneurial itch. Like that's anyone. Like
Right.
you don't have to be someone to do that because you're somebody now,
Exactly. You just have to believe it.
Yeah.
It's literally a choice. It's like it's just a choice. But we have learned, both of us, so much through this whole process about identity. And because we make a lot of I am statements, like I am shy, or I am, it's like, no, actually, what is my identity in Christ? Who do I believe God made me to be? These are all things that I do, but who am I? Because when I dismiss myself, oh, I am not that, like I'm actually cutting out a whole lot of possibility in my life because I've got this weird belief about who I am. But if I know who I am in the Lord, and I'm solid on this, then the things that I could do are just really endless, and it's a choice. I get to just go choose to be or do whatever I want.
Well, and that's a faith issue too, like I didn't realize it for a while, but it was like whenever I say, I'm not that guy, I'm not the guy who can start a business, I'm not the guy who can go out on my own and just, make my own way. Really, I was leaving the Lord out of that conversation altogether. Like it was as if I was saying, the Lord can't do that. You know what I mean? Because it's not about what I can do, but it's what I can do with God's help. You know what I mean? It's like whenever he told Moses, hey, go tell Pharaoh to let the people go because, I'm going to do all these things. Like Moses was not the one causing all of the plagues and things. That wasn't him. That was Moses doing what God told him to. And it wasn't because Moses was great. It was because God is great and he needed a speaker. So it's like, just if you don't leave the Lord and his power out of your plans, because it's a partnership. Yes. And no matter, I'm not just talking about in a business, but in anything, any venture that you do. So
I was about to kind of ask because there's an aspect of building a business with faith in mind that can be maybe a little evangelistic rather than just life or things through it. And I have talked with multiple people I see about that and just kind of I thought about it. So I'm curious. It sounds like EL's life, DomeDock is obviously a huge part of that. It's make a living somehow. Is that really to enjoy doing it? Is it the main thing that you're called to in your faith, or did it have other things? And this is happens to be one of the ways that you are providing through that.
yeah. Only answer.
Yeah, that's kind of talking about like calling and ministry and yeah, I think for us there's just not there's not like categories of like this is my business and this is my call to evangelism and this is my, it's like my life is my ministry. And so I'm going to bring as a Christian, like a Christ follower, my calling is to live into my identity, like who God made me to be. And if that is taking my kids to soccer practice or washing the dishes or getting on TV or coming to talk to ACU students, like I want to do all of that with just like embodying the fruits of the Spirit because the Spirit is in me. And so anything that I do is my calling. Anything that I do is my ministry. And like naturally pouring out of that, like our business is our ministry. And we do get to talk to different people about our faith and but that's not siloed.
Yeah. I think of calling in terms of like we don't all have different callings. All Christians have the same calling. It's like to go out and be salt and light in the world, right? And so now we do have different influence, different spheres of influence. And so I think of this is my calling. Like I have some influence in certain parts of the manufacturing world now because of DomeDock, or in the sales world, because of DomeDock. But really, that's just one small part of my calling. So I don't think of it as the main part of my calling. In fact, a lot of our business now we set up kind of on autopilot where I'm checking in on certain things, but I've got a lot of freedom of time in my company because that's just where I am now with my life. And so, well, what am I going to do with all that free time? Well, insert calling here, right? Like they'll be salt and light. What does that mean? So I don't know, sometimes I'm fixing doors at the church, and other times I'm teaching our youth group, and other times I'm going to play disc golf and like finding some person I can chat with and checking in on their life. And, they might not know the Lord. Well, I can start to kind of be salt and light in that area. So I see of calling in terms of we as Christians all have the same calling. It's to go and be salt and light in the world, right? And we all have different influences. And so am I going to try to use that in my sphere of influence? Yes. But I've got lots of different spheres of influence, in my friend groups, in my relationships, in my friendships, in my influence at ACU, or with any people that I ever come in contact with. So that's kind of more how I think of it.
I think our beard is just it's a holistic way of thinking. It's not just you said it like saying it. Hey, that's not the way to do it. So, yeah, and I'm excited. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have any thoughts,
Um,
we're coming up on time, so I don't want to ask
sure.
too many more.
What's the best piece of advice you guys have ever received?
Oh, you just gonna get another easy question. Okay. Oh man. Do you mean in terms of
Business
business, in
advice?
terms of what? Spirituality and life? I mean, that's big.
Let's do maybe, maybe spirituality, life.
Hmm. Man, you didn't have to pause the video when we yeah.
No, I think something that we've done is really surround ourselves with people that are wiser than us. And it's hard to pick out just like one piece of advice because we've actually been given a lot of advice. I think I would like to think that we are like coachable and teachable, and so any interaction that we're having with business owners that are further down the road than us, or signing up for coaching programs, or um, you know, sermons, or wise spiritual leaders, like I just want to soak all of that up and be coachable and be teachable. So I think we gleaned a lot of really good advice from over the years. Just so maybe that would be a good piece of advice, is be coachable, like be teachable. Don't think you've got everything figured out. Humility is key. Like, there's never going to be a point where I've got it all figured out.
Yeah. If I could add to that, I would think, I mean, so like Jesus was kind of asked this question of like, what's the most important command? And he was like, okay, well, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Like, there it is. And that's cliche. I mean, to say like, okay, that's the greatest command, but like talking about great advice, you can have all the success in the world, whether it's just spiritually or financially, or I mean, in your fill in the blank, your hobby or in your whatever you compete at, something. You can have all the success in the world, and it will mean nothing if if the Lord's not in it. Like everything just ends up empty if it's not guided by the Lord. But whenever you insert your calling into everything that you're doing, like I feel like that is really worship and like really giving the Lord your life. And with that, there's meaning and there's purpose and there's I struggled a lot with meaning and purpose whenever I was in just the workforce. Just kind of I wake up, go to work, earn the money, come home, spend a lot of time with the family, go back to sleep, wake up, go to work. Like I kind of struggled with meaning because there weren't a lot of places for me that I found to insert my calling into my work at that time. And so when we started our own thing, I feel like I've got more meaning now than I've ever had. And it's because I'm actively searching, no matter what I'm doing, I'm searching for places to insert my calling, insert my influence, or insert salt and light into the world. So I think for me, that's probably the best advice I can give is just like truly love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. You give him every moment. And like you go on an adventure and it makes life fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we wrap up, I just want to point out a couple things for them listening. Most of our guests are college age, but we want to have guests on that are more experienced and have the wisdom and the time and that we don't have from more years. And so John and Chelsea are amazing examples of, I think, the advice of the gift being when you're in college, go do something, go figure it out, do it holistically. Don't forget God, do it in ways that are intentional and learn along the way.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do. So
That's right. Yes. Get started.
absolutely.
You have less to risk right now than ever before. Once kids come into the mix and a mortgage comes into the mix, it's like, oh boy, you got more that you have to be responsible for. So right now is the time to adventure. Put it on the line. Like go try some stuff.
So glad you said because they're always here for us.
Yeah. Everyone in we have on the podcast says that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, because like now's the time for us to take swings. All right. Yeah. Not that you can't take swings like when you're older, but
There's more.
right? It's like we can take massive risk.
Yeah.
Our age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's super wise to realize that already.
That's right.
Keep putting that out there. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get to, I mean, we're thinking about paying property taxes and mortgage and, retirement and like just
Our
like,
kids' braces and what they're doing.
it's like the most boring adulting stuff. But when we're here, it's like, oh, you study your dorm and like that's your responsibility is to like make your bed if you want. You don't have to make food for yourself. Like, just walk over to the bean. Someone cooks for you. Someone cleans for you. Like, all of your energy just gets to focus on, like, the thing right in front of you. There's no, like, real grown-up responsibility yet. It's
Go after. Just do it.
go. Yeah.
If you have an idea, pursue it. Yeah.
Yeah, while someone's making your meals for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on. This was a blast. It was fun. Oh, yes, I know that you're going to get a ton of podcasts, so really appreciate it. DomeDock, he's just DomeDock.com.
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 Yeah. Find us on Amazon.
Yeah. If you want to go buy one through the website. We get more profit through the website than we do through Amazon. So
Yeah.
they do.
DomeDock.com. Add to cart.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.